You've probably heard you should never buy or sell a house during the winter months or during the holiday season, right? Well, in today's video, I'm going to bust that myth, especially if you're looking to buy or sell right here in the greater Dayton area. Hi, my name's David Moyer. I'm with Keller Williams Advisors and David Moyer Real Estate right here in the greater Dayton area. And I'm going to walk you through some of the reasons why, if you were considering buying or selling this holiday season, but you're concerned about what you've heard online or some of the myths you've heard before, I'm going to walk you through this so you can go into that transaction confidently. We're going to talk about some relocation guides, what weather really means when it comes to listing and staging your home, and what are some final year-end considerations you should be thinking about financially and for tax purposes. So stay with me and let's do this. So right off the bat, myth number one is that nobody moves during the holidays. And that is a huge myth that I'm here to tell you is just that. It's not rooted in facts. Yes, it's true that during the holiday season and during the winter months, the real estate market does tend to slow down ever so slightly, and there is weather considerations to take into account. But at the end of the day, the buyers that are out there looking to move over the winter months are that much more serious. After all, they're going out with their agent to look at properties in the snow, in the ice, and sometimes in the sub-zero temperatures. So this is important to think that those buyers are coming out to your property during those months because they're motivated and they have a reason to move. Right here in the greater Dayton area, we have Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, as well as GE plants and large technology plants, and people are relocating to our area all the time, all year round, and they're moving here, especially if they're military and they're coming to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So those buyers have to find a property, and it doesn't matter if it's November, December, January, or February. If they are being relocated here to the greater Dayton area, they're looking for a property during those months. So you may have a slowdown in showings, less showings than you would have, let's say, if you listed your home in July or June, but you will have a chance of negotiating a higher price with those buyers that come through the property. And likewise, if you're a buyer looking out there, there may be less competition for other buyers that are going through the property as well. So it's a win-win for everybody at the end of the day. So this myth right here is busted. And piggybacking off of myth number one, myth number two is that if you are selling your property during the winter months, you are going to get lowball or what we would call weak offers. And that's just not true. This goes right back to what I said before. The buyers that are coming through your property during the winter months are a lot more serious. They definitely need to get into a home, whether it be by the end of the year or if they want to get in while their kids are on winter break. There is a reason they are moving during the winter months, and they are that much more serious. So 9 times out of 10, if you go under contract during the winter months, that negotiation process is going to be a lot smoother, and that transaction is going to be a lot smoother because everybody during those winter months has a common goal, and they all want to see that come to fruition. So it is a myth that just because you list your home in the winter months, you're going to get a lowball offer. Yeah, sure, a lot of sellers maybe are a little bit more hesitant to reduce their price or anything like that during the winter months, but they're ready to negotiate. So don't let those snowflakes and don't let those sleigh bells stop you from finding the perfect home this holiday season. So let's talk about the number one benefit when you are listing your home or if you're looking to buy a home in the winter months. And that goes right back to what I've already touched on ever so briefly, and that is less competition and better visibility for your listings. A lot of people, when the winter months hits and they're thinking about a real estate transaction or they're thinking about moving, are going to naturally say, well, I'm going to wait until the spring. I'm going to wait until at least March or April to get my home onto the market because that's what historically I have been told year after year after year. And that's not true. The benefit of putting your home onto the market, like I said, is that you have less competition. Your home is going to showcase a lot better because there's less competition, and the agent eyes on your property, especially if they're working with buyers that are on the sidelines waiting for your home just like yours to come onto the market, are going to really focus on getting their clients into your home. They're not looking at 10, 15 other properties that maybe would match their criteria. They're looking at just a handful of properties that meet their qualifications, and those buyers are ready to make a deal. So more visibility during the winter months is going to be beneficial. It's the exact opposite of what I'm sure you're thinking is you're not going to get a lot of visibility. But remember, less competition is definitely going to help you out at the end of the day. And if you're a buyer, there's also less competition with those buyers. So you don't have to necessarily worry as much of going into a property and thinking, am I going to go into a multiple offer situation, or how am I going to handle this? Do I have time to go home? Do I have time to even go home and have dinner so I can think about whether or not I'm going to write that offer? You have a little bit more breathing room. Now, I'll say that with a caveat. Working with a buyer's agent is crucial because they can tell you what the average day on market is for those properties, even in the winter months. And if that day on market is smaller and smaller and smaller, even though there's less competition, you may still not want to take your time when it comes to making a decision whether or not to write on that property. And we'll still get you in there by the time Christmas rolls around. And the second benefit I'm going to talk about that rolls right on top of what we just talked about with our first benefit is that the motivated buyers out there can oftentimes mean faster closings. If a buyer's going under contract in December, a lot of times they're looking to finish that transaction before year end. And that could be for tax purposes, that could be for a job relocation. There's a multitude of reasons that a buyer could want to close before December 31st of the year they are purchasing. So those buyers are going to be a lot more serious on staying on track, not extending those time frames out, and thus causing headaches for you as a seller if you also are looking to make a purchase and you're dependent on yours closing. So there are a lot of reasons those closings will go a lot smoother. Also, on the lending side of things, lenders also tend to see a slight slowdown in the winter months. So their pipeline is not going to be as stacked. And when that file goes to underwriting, the underwriters are able to get it to the front of the line, they're able to process it a lot faster, and everything is a smoother transaction at the end of the day. So there's a lot of benefits to doing that. And benefit number two, I think, is one of the strongest things you should keep in mind, whether you're buying or selling, is that the lending process is going to be extremely smooth because there's less competition and there's less paperwork for those lenders to do because their file size has decreased ever so slightly. So take advantage of that. It will work out in your benefit time after time after time. Now, going right back to our myths, myth number 3 is that homes look terrible in the winter months, and that is a huge myth. First of all, I tell all of my sellers, when you are listing in the winter months, if your home is photographed and there's snow on the ground or Christmas decorations or something like that, and if for some reason your home is still on the market after that holiday season, I am more than willing to get my photography team out there immediately to get you some updated photos that don't include the snow or anything like that on the outside. But at the end of the day, here's what you want to showcase to those buyers that are coming through your property. A buyer that's going to walk up to your home with a well-shoveled sidewalk. And let me tell you, as a listing agent and a buyer's agent, there's nothing worse than taking my clients to a property, especially if it's a vacant property and there's snow on the ground and there's 3 to 4 inches of snow in front of that house and we have to trek through that to get to the front door. That's an immediate turnoff. So always make sure that you clear the snow off the ground. And a home that showcases how well it can handle the winter months, how well that driveway is, how well everything holds up when there's a heavy snowstorm or it's bitterly cold, is going to stick in that buyer's mind a lot more than the generic home that's on the spring market and everything is wonderful, the temperatures are in the 70s and everything is great. That's easy to showcase a home. If you can showcase your home though in the winter months, how well it maintains and how easy it is to maintain, that's going to go a long way with those buyers. Also, your home is going to show extremely cozy and extremely welcoming and inviting. People are going to feel at home. There's nothing better than walking into a property in the winter months that is nice and cozy, maybe the fireplace is lit, some light music in the background, and everything smells of the season. That is a warm, inviting, sensory thing for those buyers when they come through there that immediately tells them, I am finally at home. Now, once again, we're going to talk about some special considerations here when it comes to holiday listings, and timing is everything, and timing your home is a wise move. Once again, like I said, a lot of buyers, if they're relocating or if they're looking to make a purchase for tax purposes, it could be for mortgage interest deductions or any sort of tax year-end deductions. You want to make sure that you have your home staged properly, time it properly, and also price it properly so that home can go under contract potentially right away during the winter months. months. Once again, we are a big manufacturing town here in Dayton, as well as home to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So we have a ton of not only military, but also civilian personnel that are coming and going on a regular basis. And these people, once again, have to find housing if they choose not to live on base housing. And so they're coming into Dayton during the winter months, and they're looking at the inventory, and you want to make sure that you have everything ready to go, because those buyers are also ready to go. So just to wrap it up, the don't buy or sell during the holiday myth often comes from outdated assumptions, but the holiday market can be advantageous, especially for motivated buyers and sellers. So if you're in the greater Dayton area or one of the suburbs like Kettering, Beavercreek, Oakwood, Centerville, Springboro, and you're thinking about a move before the year end or very early into next year, don't wait just because of the calendar. Holiday timing could work for you. I've helped clients do this for well over 20 years, so I'd love to help you and evaluate your options. And if you're thinking about buying or selling over the holidays, drop your questions below. I'll walk you through what could work best in your area. And if this is your first time, please make sure you like and subscribe, feed that algorithm, and make sure that I can also help other buyers and sellers, whether you're here in the Dayton market or anywhere across the country. Remember, if you're relocating anywhere else outside of the greater Dayton area, I have agents just like me that work nationwide and international that can help you make your holiday moves as well. So thanks for joining. Once again, my name is David Moyer with Keller Williams Advisors and David Moyer Real Estate in Dayton, Ohio, and I love selling real estate right here in Dayton, Ohio.